C Project Red with the big host. I mean, it was only like 4,300 people. I mean, whatever. It's not very many people. Well, hi, the couple of you who came over. Good to see you. I want to talk a little bit about what we just talked about. If you don't mind, I do want to talk a little bit about what we just talked about. When I say we, I'm talking about Paul Berja and Jason Slama. Paul Berja with the troll, with the late troll, saying that Jason Slama would not be part of the stream. We'll put on some Witcher music for a moment. He did that late troll. He's like, Jason's not gonna be part of the stream. Sorry, guys. I'm like, no, like you just promised something today. Why would he not? And then it was a joke after all. And then I thought, it's ballsy to make a joke like that. It's like before you do the homecoming preview at Challenger 4, it's ballsy on Saturday to have Flake and Ash Lizzle debate the audience. It's ballsy to say, oh guys, I don't know if we have anything to show you. It's ballsy to make a joke like that. So when you make a joke about Jason Slama not showing up, or basically saying that something is going to happen and then nothing is happening, it's ballsy to make a joke like that because it hurts. It hurts if you're angry already. But then I thought, well, it was a joke. We know Jason Slama is going to be on the stream, and I thought, okay. They have the confidence to make that joke. Now I'm really excited for the announcement because if they're making jokes like that, and they're clearly ready for the stream, and they announce it today as like a surprise stream, there's going to be some good stuff on the stream. And I was not wrong. I was not wrong at all. There was some good stuff on the stream. In fact, I would say that the stuff was so good on the stream. I'm just a little fired up. So I'm going to read this stuff, and the more excited I am about it, I'm going to yell louder. Or something like that. Hot fixes so consoles can keep up with PC. I'll be brutally honest, my friends. I think that console has I think it's great. I have a friend of mine who plays only on console, who's kind of just getting back into Gwent, and to know that a fix is coming for PS4 is really, really good. I think the people on console have waited long enough for Gwent. They have the right to enjoy it. It is fun to play it on console, and it's also fun to do remote play if you have a Vita or something and all that stuff. I think maybe I would prefer it to be a PC-only game. However, with the new philosophy of making sure that consoles keeping up with PC and more regular hotfixes leads me to believe that hotfixes are not going to be too slow because of console certification and all that preparation, all those OKs you have to go into, all those OKs you have to go through with I saw it come in, but I don't see it on my activity here. So hold on a second, guys. Thanks, everybody. I just have to change the filters. There's a lot going on right here. I just want to say thank you so much to JBX316X. And that's the bottom line. All right, so thanks so much for that. So if hotfixes are to be regular enough to keep up with PC, then I no longer think that that's a problem. And that was it kind of weighed on my mind a little bit. I'm like, if the game's not going to change fast enough, maybe that's going to be a real detriment. I don't think I have a problem with that, not just because of this, but also because of everything else that was said. And I know a lot of people got in at the end of the stream, and they wanted to get the recap, right? You want to see that Reddit post. You want to see the top. You want to see the TLDR. This is going to be the VLLTMFH, which means very long, listen to me for an hour. Monthly updates. They're expecting to keep the game, if it needs fixes, tweaks in provision cost, tweaks in strength level, that kind of stuff. It seems like they're definitely not afraid of tweaking. And if it's monthly, it will always be around a pro ladder season. So it's never going to be in the middle, I hope. It's always going to be at the beginning. And ultimately just keeps games... it keeps things... it's not like we need... Jason said something awesome. Jason said something super, super, super really good. Well, he said a lot of great stuff. Some stuff it was really one of the best streams I've ever seen, just because of how fucking real it was. But He said something really important. It's time to move forward. It's time to move forward. So it's not really about the small changes. They don't want to do any small tweaks, really. They're looking like they want to do something. Hold on a second, guys. You guys deserve to be kind of like part of this with me. Where's my with chat? I mean, more or less, this is kind of what we have here. Sorry, that was black and white for other stuff. Okay. So what I'm saying is that he said it's time to move forward. So we're talking about, homecoming. We waited like we waited like 6 months for stuff, I don't have my alerts on this. I shouldn't have changed everything. Everything's fine, right? So we had to wait a long time, right? So because we had to wait so long, we're tired of waiting. And we don't want to have to wait again. We don't want to have things change. Things are changing. Nothing's being added. And I posed a hypothetical situation to my chat during the last podcast. And it was a hypothetical. It was a question to Quill and Lance, but also it was to everybody else. And it was, if Gwent didn't change for 2 straight months, would we be okay if it meant that at the end of those 2 straight months, we got an expansion? People felt like 2 months might be too long for an expansion. I really disagreed, considering we just got the game update. And it didn't mean that there wasn't going to be any hotfixes, and it didn't mean there weren't going to be any tweaks, but actually it kind of did. It kind of meant that there weren't going to be any huge sweeping changes. It's kind of like where I was going with it. More or less, we kind of came to the conclusion that if we wanted Quill, your ears are burning. If we wanted to let the game grow, we needed to let it go a little bit. You guys will remember, if you've ever played Hearthstone, Undertaker dominated the meta for, I don't know, it felt like forever, but it was probably just, months. But it was a long time before that card was changed. And you just kind of got used to the fact that that's just a card that's just going to be around. It's going to be strong, and it's going to be around, and that's that. The stuff that's strong in the early metas of a core game is just, you remember, oh, that's really good. And it was really good because we didn't have a lot of different interesting ways to kind of really flesh out our decks and stuff like that, right? So it's kind of like what I was more or less okay with. And it was around the time where, Witchers were still we're kind of not really sure how good Witchers are going to be and that kind of thing after the nerf. But if Witchers were the strong neutral card of this core set, and ultimately we get an expansion that changes that, and now the Witchers just aren't as good anymore. Cards were added that just changed the meta. It just, you have better options, whatever. Better fitting options, better strength options. But for the time being, Witchers are just the card. Just the card you got to look out for. It's your novice engineer kind of thing. It's a card that's good for now, because it's good in the set we have, etc., etc. So keep in mind that Paolo just got back from vacation, so he probably spent the whole time napping. He probably looks tired just because he woke up. That's probably what it is. It's also 9 o'clock over there. It's a full work day. Give Powell a break. I know there's a lot of stuff going in the chat. I just wanted to call that one out for some reason. So he did say that. So moving forward, it's kind of a really big deal, I think. It's important that they are recognizing that we're ready to build on what we have, and that was super, super clear. The wording was exactly what I wanted to hear personally. Then they said, January, things start to change. 5 new leaders to help flesh out archetypes. Specifically, Jason referenced traps as being something that doesn't really have archetypical support, but does have cards that care about it. Half-Elf Hunter, Dwarven Pyrotech, the traps themselves. But then you have to play Half-Elf Hunter and Dwarven Pyrotech, and those cards just don't feel very good. But if you had more cards that maybe worked with them, or a leader that helped, then we can all enjoy the reality of playing in a trap meta, which sounds maybe not good. They said they were going to be Thronebreaker leaders. So, who could those people be? Let's see here. Let's see. Well, I do think that one of them is going to be Queen Mev. And I do think that one of them is going to be this guy, right? Ardal. And for Squayatel, I mean, I haven't seen the whole story yet, but it seems like Dane is the guy. And then you have Monsters and Skellige. Now, the thing about Dane and Ardal and Meave is that all of those cards have artworks that are not in Gwent, but are clearly in the game. Monsters, like, has what? Like Shaelmar? That's not going to be a leader. So, you know, we haven't really seen what it could be maybe for the other two factions. Or it's just later in the game, and I'm like halfway through Act 3. So I don't know. But the important thing is that there's going to be 5 new leaders. I mean, Skellige could get a monkey holding a stick. I really don't care. New leaders is, you know, the thing is, I love Witcher lore. I love Witcher cards. Obviously, I'm loving it from no matter what it is. And I know they're going to do it right, so I'm not too worried about what it is. But if it is a monkey with a stick, I mean, that's okay. End of March. 100 plus card new expansion. So we know that if you are considering this correctly, mid-December, we know that it's going to be 3.5 months, which is much longer than the 2-month hypothetical situation. However, we're going to be having a major update in between the expansion and now. So if that update is in the latter bit of January, it's kind of like split right down the middle because those are big changes, right? The new leader is going to be Gulo. Yeah, of course, right? Skellige, King of Skellige. Clan and Gulo. Yeah, 100 plus. That's true. And they showed some of the new card arts. They showed 2. They showed a giant oak tree type creature for Scoia'tael, which is interesting because, you know, I'm not 100% on what Scoia'tael magic they have at their disposal. We know that Francesca is the Queen of the Elves and a member of the Lodge of Sorceresses. So you know that there's magic, and they've always had special card stuff, and they've always had, you know. I think here's what Scoia'tael needs is maybe more like Spellitel support, and maybe like that's. Anyway, Dane doesn't seem like a Spellitel supporter, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, so good stuff, right? And they showed this crazy werebear in mid-transformation, which was this gruesome, amazing thing. So good, guys. Jinzi, hello. How you doing? Good to see you. You know, and the other thing that Jason said that I loved was that he likes when cards tell a story, which is really basically saying he likes flavor in his cards. And the good news is I feel like Gwent's already kind of come around and doing a good job with flavor. I've always kind of felt like since Homecoming, a lot of the cards do more what they should do, I feel like. Like, look at Yorvath Meditation, the old one that made 2 units dual. And you get like people saying, man, wouldn't this be a great card for Geralt Axii? Well, they have a chance to do that again because that effect is out of the game and Yorvath Meditation's artwork is used for a different card. So we could see more stuff like that. Strong considerations on, like, the thing is, he said art comes first, right? So you get the art first. You don't want to build from the art. You can't really do that. You do need to build mechanics first. But, you know, you can still get a theme, like whatever Small Blood is going to do, whatever the vampires are going to do, you build off that theme. So you can at least go places with that, right? Bring back... You missed the whole stream? Oh, man, the stream was great. Now, I want to talk about other stuff that happened on that stream that needs to be talked about. Now, I understand that Jason Slama is Canadian, so I'm obviously very biased. But can I just say that he said 2 things during that stream, 2 or 3 things that was some of the realest shit I've ever heard come out of a game developer's mouth. Some of the realest stuff. Now, you guys obviously know the meme, right? The meme that's going to come out of this one is fuck Sihil, right? That's Makel's already saying. You know that that's it, right? You know that that's already alive, right? I can't wait to get onto Reddit. This is like one of the first times I've said this. I cannot wait to get onto Reddit and see what comes out of this one. In your talented hands, go this gift that Jason has given us. But he also said a couple other super real things that maybe were shadowed by the fuck Sihil thing. But he said when he was talking about arena mode, he said, I don't know where Arena stands on our list of priorities. And I feel like that's a really real thing because there are a lot of people that probably didn't want to hear that. But that's just the truth, right? You got tournament mode. By the way, when Jason said trying to think about the right time to release tournament mode, at first, my gut reaction was, I mean, the best time for tournament mode is 2 years ago. That was my gut reaction. That was my fiery reaction. But then I thought, if I could build tournament mode right now with what I know from watching and being a part of almost every Gwent tournament, and knowing what it's like as the chief observer, basically the observer role. I am looking at the game and making sure that I have all the information present to me to make sure that everybody watching the game completely understands what's going on. If I could build that now, it would be way better. It would be way, way better. And I've got some ideas, actually. And if they haven't really dove in and they're still trying to figure out how to turn the cards around on the other side of the board, I got some ideas, like maybe on the screen at all times. Like, I understand we're in a Witcher world, but you can give me a little bit of sports overlay for my tournament mode, okay? You can give me a little bit of instant replay. You can give me a little bit of, like, wow, graphics, you know? But what I want are stats. Just a few stats. What I want, it's super simple. This is super simple stuff that frees up seconds of mental space that, over time, adds up. Two things that I would love to see would be, one, show me how much the last play each opponent made was on the screen. Right next to the score, show me last play, this happened. And show me the difference between the scores. I'm not saying I can't do it. I do it all the time. What I am saying is, when I'm casting, I would like to not do that. I would like to think about lines of play, the victory, like what the next decision might be, if anything was a good or bad play, why it was a good or bad play, instead of just counting. You know, I don't want to. I got to do a small math problem every single turn, which, again, we're talking about seconds of mental space. But one of the reasons why I always like Gwent trackers is because, as a streamer, someone who's interacting with the chat and talking constantly, I'll take every little bit of mental space I can get, so I'm not roping and making mistakes. So I do miss some of the calculation stuff that was in the tracker. I don't think it's necessary for normal play, but I do think that for tournament play, it would be fantastic. It would be absolutely fantastic stuff. And that's just like top level, just me thinking off the top of my head. If I was making it today with what I know now, what would I do? Those are the big ones right there. Also, if there was a mode that I, as the caster, could control and look at deck and graveyard, then that's it. Basically, I would say, how about this? I control that part of the game. I would just be the director. That would be great, because you just have a moment, and it's like, I'm trying to figure out here if this was a good play, what chances this player has for victory, what chances this player has for victory, and I can't remember if that other bronze is in his deck. Because I missed a moment, and, sometimes I look down and I cross something off a piece of paper and I actually miss a play. And then I'm saying, oh man, something about Morkvarg when Morkvarg's already on the board or something like that. I don't know. Just giving you an example of like something that's happened. So I do think that Observer Mode should be soon, but they should definitely give it features that support viewing the game. Because I think for a game as complicated as Gwent is, the viewership has never been really, I think the viewership is good. The activity in the chat has always been good. I think that the community supporting the game for all of its highs and lows when it comes to actually playing and watching the game, really active stuff, really good stuff. Like, I just generally enjoy that aspect of it. I think that a lot of people have a lot to say and a lot of like opinions and stuff, and you want to be right, you want to be wrong sometimes. Anyway. You're working on a Sihil name right now. So yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, so Jinsey in the chat talking about, they may have sounded like dead air. I think I'm going to put this discussion on the podcast, or at least cut a video out of it. Because we're recapping the stream right now. The podcast, this may be it. We'll see. So Jinsey said she may have missed it. She wants to know if there's going to be zany mechanics, right? What was said is, there are also two really awesome things that Jason said that were not clear. So the thing about this was he said that every seasonal event on casual, there could be a special rule that's in place. But he didn't say if that means I can't play casual mode, if I want to just test a deck out for ranked viability. If I can, then yeah, awesome. Monthly brawls, monthly crazy rules, I'm down. As long as we're not splitting the queues too much for the player base. And if we're not, then good. Then more fun stuff, honestly. More arena stuff, more ranked stuff, more casual stuff. Like, as long as I can find a game, I'm down. I want more ways to play, always. We're doing some fun stuff for faction challenges. You can pick any of the 5 factions, and it's not really clear how it works, but basically it sounds like you can champion whatever faction you want. And then from there, you do quests for that faction throughout the time period of the challenge. So no longer polluting the ladder with 1 or 2 factions. The last faction challenge just ripped my heart out. The Scoia'tael faction challenge? Man, that hurt. That hurt me. That one hurt me. Because it just meant that the faction I wanted to play against the least was now the more popular faction because it had a general benefit.
I can't pronounce if that name tipped $6.89. Monsters rule. Fuck Sihil.
Rais, thanks so much for the tip. Jingling around that tip jar. Putting a big smile on my face. Yeah, so I do like the idea. I can't pronounce the name. Huge supporter of the stream over the last couple of days. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. So I think that faction challenge is just being generally more exciting. More stuff in between games to kind of enrich the gameplay experience. You're not just hitting rank match, play game. Stuff going on, right? You're thinking about stuff outside of the game. I like that stuff, right? Another thing Jason said that was great. Let's just talk about, and I just want to talk about all the future changes stuff. Now, they said that there's going to be an update coming in January that's going to add 5 leaders to the game. But he also said that there's going to be some big future changes that will change gameplay. And he addressed a lot of stuff. Now, there has been a very popular video by one, I'd say none other, than your Nilf Guardian ring bearer, Gwent Challenger 2, Gwent Open 2, Gwent Open 7 champion, Freddy Babes, Gwent Slam 1 champion also, Freddy Babes, a guy who's played and won a fair share of high-level Gwent. Freddy Babes was talking on his video all these things that he wished were different to make Gwent the best game, the best card game. And I watched a lot of that video, and I watched some of Freddy's, because Freddy actually streamed Gwent. Freddy, on the Team Complexity Artifact team, he streamed Gwent the other day. He was playing artifacts. He wasn't saying, I saw a couple of clips. I didn't watch the whole stream, but I saw, some people in my Discord, or in the Commander's Horn Discord, I should say.
Commandos!
They said that they were watching Freddy, and he seemed a little, maybe it wasn't at his most positive, There was a clip here of him playing Artifact versus Artifact, and it was bad gameplay, and it wasn't a clip that made the game look good, but you kind of hear it in his voice. You kind of hear, like, maybe you could hear, like, the things that he was saying about how Gwent needed to change. You could tell that Freddy wanted Gwent to be a better game. Because playing Gwent at its best was the best, guys. It was the best. It was the best. Last year, hold on. I just want to be real with you guys. Last year was the best. It was the best. Mashna Castle, Freddy Babes versus Life Coach. Life Coach versus Game King. Coleman the Dark Horse. Freddy sick and winning it. He's the best. So he wants a better game, right? It was the best. Ever since that event, happy anniversary Challenger 2, by the way. This time last year, Midwinter dropped. We were in it. We were in it. A year has passed. I want to say lots has changed because you think in a year a lot can change. And a lot has changed, but it changed late. It's like it all changed like yesterday, it feels like. The time between the final update that Gwent received before Homecoming and the Homecoming update, I feel like the time in my life has never passed faster. Those 6 months felt very long during it. Now I cannot believe that it is December. I can't believe it. I've done so much, and the game has, you know, like this the callback to what Jason was saying before about the game moving forward. I feel like I have done so much, and the game has done so much, but there hasn't been a lot of the forward moving, right? There hasn't been a lot of the forward moving. And the events were great. The Gwent Opens, the 2 challengers. I love Challenger 4 so much. I loved that weekend. The event was great. The event was quite good. DeMorcus and Andy bringing those decks, and DeMorcus ending up taking on Andy at the end of it. It was all good. But that weekend, on a personal level, was one of the best weekends of my life. The only thing that would have made that weekend better is if my wife was there to join me, because I had like everything there. Or I guess my parents or something. I guess if everybody in the world that I loved was there, that would also make it better, obviously. I had close friends there, friends that I have made over the year. We played Magic, we played Codenames. We were getting up early to go there. Generally, Panda doesn't like that very much. Panda doesn't like to get up early if he doesn't have to. But we were like, we were there. We were on. We were talking about Gwent. We were talking about, we were trying to bust the whole thing down constantly while having the best time of our life. It was the best time working. And we worked. The analysts definitely worked. We all worked really hard for Challenger 4. But it was one of the best balanced experiences of my entire life. So I'm going to segue in there. We played. Okay, well, keep in mind that I'm playing a physical card game with my friends from Poland. Like, that is something that most people can't ever do, right? It doesn't happen very often. Also, whatever. I'm just saying that in between the time, we're not playing Gwent at the Gwent event. Yeah, we are. Usually we take some of the competitors' decks for a couple spins, yeah. But I mean, when you're out there in Yormsburg, where there's no Wi-Fi and you don't have a network on your Canadian phone, you'll take the physical card games. The physical card games never crash, my friends. Let's not get off topic. I'm talking about events here. I can't remember why I was talking about this event, but I was saying that at peak Gwent, I was saying, yeah, the time in between was a lot of fun. I feel like I only really started getting a little drained right in the final stretch of October, to the point where I've been climbing back up. And I've been pretty honest about this on my stream, but if you're watching and listening and you didn't know that, there have been some difficulties for me, generally though for gaming, but just, staying like super, super engaged. And it's not like I haven't been following the game, talking about it, like building decks, theory crafting. It's just like the hours and hours of playing. It's been harder for me to do that. I'm fired up after this game. And I'm really, really excited. I was talking about Freddy Babes. Yeah, but I think I made my point there about Freddy Babes. Thanks, Bagetta. Bagetta, another huge supporter of the stream. Oh, I started playing the Commandos thing, and it didn't even go off because I pressed it twice too fast.
Commandos!
All right, so I was talking about, but the point I was making about Freddy Babes is that Freddy Babes spent a very long time playing Gwent, right back from the very, very beginning. One of the earliest streamers of the game, one of the earliest competitors of the game, was part of the Gwent Slams, the only event that was before Challenger 2 or even Gwent Open 2 were the Gwent Slams, where Freddy was like very much involved. So Freddy's been part of the game from the competitive scene at his level, being able to play with the dedication that and I've seen him play. I've seen him just sink hours and not sleep. The dude poured everything in his being to actually compete and play Gwent at his level and still go through school and stuff. Make time for his life and still get there. To hear him make those suggestions about Gwent after Artifact comes out as well. And I'm only making a point of this, not to compare, but to specifically call out kind of Freddy Babe's commitment moving forward to focus on Artifact. But to come back and play Gwent yesterday, that's not a big deal. I mean, we play games, whatever. We play what we feel like playing. I was just talking to my wife today about how I wanted to play a little MTG on stream sometime in the future. Whatever. It's a good game. But it's more about the fact that he made video about it. Because I don't care if Hearthstone's the best game ever. I don't care. If it's good or if it's not good, doesn't bother. It doesn't change how I play Gwent. Doesn't change how I cover Gwent. I know Hearthstone's probably going to be the most popular card game for a very long time, and good for them. They really, entrenched themselves and basically pioneered a digital card game market that kind of is currently the fruit is being born like presently with the way we see Gwent, the way we see Artifact coming in. I'm just waiting for the League of Legends card game. I'm just waiting for it. You guys think it's not? It's coming. I'm pretty sure. If League of Legends doesn't have a card game out in 3 years, or at least announce it, I will once again eat my hat, which I didn't eat when Shoop got Grandmaster. So I'm just going to say that I just don't, I don't play Hearthstone anymore. I don't really care about Hearthstone. Seems like Freddy. Oh shit, has the music been this loud the whole time? Turn it down a little bit. I hope I've been loud enough because I would like to cut this. So, yeah. So what I'm saying is that, how can Freddy not care about the livelihood of Gwent? How can you not see the potential? So, the things that... Now, let's actually talk about the main things that Freddy's talking about, which references the dev stream that we just saw. This is a particularly loud song, so I'm going to bring this one down. Oh, man, a fighting game for League would be sweet. Let's not get off topic, but that would be a good game. Arguably a better game, considering movesets. Movesets kind of make more sense. Anyway. Yeah, fighting games. So, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to questions, but I basically am going to treat this like the podcast cut. I'm pretty sure this is going to be like a big part of the podcast because I'm not really super prepared for this week, and I wanted to record like a bunch for Christmas. So, yes, you can go. So anyway, if you want to get a VOD of the stream, CD Projekt Red or twitch.tv/CD Projekt Red, go to the VODs. Jason's in game director for a couple of days. And for the audio listeners, I am answering kind of some chat stuff as it's going on. So you're getting this a little fragment. So what Freddy was talking about was he was talking about leaders and provision cost, mulligan/swaps, card swaps, and card draw and hand limit. These were like 4 major points about how he felt about the gameplay of Gwent and where it is missing the opportunity to be a better game, or to quote his video, the best game. Right? He said the best game. Now he also obviously has a lot of gripes, as most people do, with artifacts, and I think he's not alone, because now I can just say it. To quote Jason Slama, fuck Sihil. Jason Slama 2018. So, I'm going to say that unless we are believing that Freddy had some foresight as to what Jason was going to say on this stream, the timing on this one was moi. Because how does that look? It looks great. It looks great, and it feels great. Because let's actually talk about the stuff that Jason said about the changes. Because this is arguably the meat. This is the meat of the stream. Because we knew an expansion was going to come out eventually. We didn't know about a January update with 5 new leaders. That's a pretty sweet cherry right there. But, we knew an expansion was coming. We could make the assumption that it was going to be a percentage of the core card base, so 100 plus cards, whatever. You would have to believe that they weren't working on anything to not believe that. But what we didn't know is that they were planning on not huge changes, but actually huge fundamental changes. But these sounded pretty good. First thing we're going to talk about, card draw. This was an interesting one. Well, let's talk about card draw. No, we'll talk about card draw first and foremost. Drawing 3 cards and drawing 3 cards. Jason said correctly that we were drawing twice as many cards in the game. And the reason for that is, as you may or may not know, a lot of cards that draw cards for you, like Card Advantage Spies very specifically, were removed from the game. So We're no longer generating card advantage by drawing extra cards, so let's draw more cards naturally. That way we can deal with consistency of not drawing as many cards because we're drawing more. As it turns out, might be too many cards. Might be too many cards to draw. And maybe we want to draw 2 cards and 1 card again. Or maybe want to draw 2 cards and 2 cards, which I might be the biggest fan of. I'll tell you why. And then he actually said that maybe he likes drawing 1 card and then 2 cards, which I can't even, I mean, I need to actually like think about what that actually means for like meta decisions. Like you push round 1, you push your opponent at a round 1 and you can see that they're just dried up. And you know your opponent's drawing 1 card. Sounds like it just means more 2-0s. But it also means that I'm less likely to stay in round 1 if I just don't have it. But I mean, on blue coin, I'm doing that anyway, and it feels bad already. So I mean, I just really can't think about it right now. But I think the reason why I think 2 and 2 is probably more right on is because generally, like the reason why I was fairly on board with 3 and 3 is that it seems like the rounds are slower and the engines are slower and you need more synergy to get your value out of your cards. So if you were drawing 3 cards, you're more likely to have cards that all work together and more likely to have a round that's long enough to get that value from your cards. Yeah? However, I will say that drawing 3 cards, if they're not very good, is, I don't know. It's like, and the mulligans were another huge thing. The swaps were another huge thing that kind of made me feel like the thing is, like Jason at the top of the stream, here's another really honest thing, another real thing that Jason said, Homecoming, we changed too much. We're not going to change this much anymore at once. It's a real thing to say because you are admitting, and CD Projekt Red has done this before, but I don't think they've done it in such a lovable way because, man, they really said all the right stuff this time. But he said that it's, sorry, we're talking about the card draw, right? The swaps. Oh, no, yeah, it was just that he said that didn't want to change too much at once. So we don't know, like, when all this stuff is being rolled out or how many of these things are going to be changing at the same time. I would like to feel out 2 and 2, but maybe 2 and 1 is what we need. Maybe we honestly need 2 and 1. And they also said the mulligan system is going to be fixed as well. They're going to go back to what it was before or a fixed amount. And all the leaders are going to be the same, and you're going to balance the leaders on provision cost, or each leader gets a different cap. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing, one way or another. Adding the leader to your deck does. I mean, I think it would be more clear from a UI perspective if the leaders set the cap, because then you're filling it up maximum, and you're not factoring in the leader, but whatever. I mean, 165 is also a good thing to know, I guess. So yeah, so I think that's a really good thing. I think that's a really good thing because it's true. Erica's Queen, Henselt of last patch. These are cool cards. But you can't mulligan, so it sucks. It just is really hard to play it. Elder is really good. Elder is such a good leader, but the mulligans sometimes just don't feel worth it. Now it's better when Witchers aren't mandatory because they don't feel mandatory anymore. But then Jason said something that tested my resolve. I wonder if he knew this when he said it. But I mean, he was asked by the chat, and it was a common question. So it was about blacklisting. They don't know if they want to change blacklisting. Made more sense for 3 bronzes, makes less sense for 2 bronzes. And I actually said yesterday, blacklisting was one of my biggest, issues, because when you blacklist a card, when you swap a card and you get a card back, it's the same card. It's like tricked you into thinking that you had more mulligans than you had. And it's like, I hated it. But if they are changing the mulligan system in general, I feel like that indirectly does fix it to a degree that I am saying that as far as my stipulations of not addressing the blacklisting system, that it is in a way addressed indirectly by fixing. Professor Murdoch in the chat saying fixing the mulligan system. I don't like using the term fixing, but man, CD Projekt Red is admitting where things need to be improved. So when they say that things are being improved, fixing starts to be more and more kind of what you'd hear, right? Guys, I want to know what you guys have to say about. Oh wait, there's a couple more things, a couple more important things. The last one is the hand limit and overdrawing. Yeah, in physical card games, blacklist. This is a great quote here from the chat here. Aldo Jr., also known as X Zenpachi, or Kenpachi X or something. I remember. You're the Bleach fan. In physical card games, blacklisting is not a thing. I don't know why people think blacklisting is necessary. Well, when mulligans are at a premium, I feel like it kind of really helped, but now they're not going to be as much of a premium, so there's that. The last thing is hand limit. Another thing that Freddy Babes wasn't really crazy about. And Jason, like, basically, it felt like he was talking directly to everybody who had watched that video. And so Jason Slama said open pass, dry pass was at an unhealthy level, I think is what he said. And I believe him. It was really often. You would see the open pass a lot. First round, there were some finals where it was every game. It was just really high. And like you'd build decks that want to open pass all the time. So they wanted to change the way how the hand limit works. It doesn't sound like they want you to get more cards by open passing, because that was clearly too good. Let's be real. It was clearly too good to do that. But it seems like they wanted there to be some sort of trade-off. You do get something out of it. And that's you get more mulligans. But he doesn't say what happens to the cards. But I mean, I feel like if you're getting something out of it, do you draw the cards anymore? I feel like that would have been a great question to ask in the chat. Because if you don't draw them, they don't get banished. They're still in your deck. I mean, again, it's more of an issue with the Witchers in the game. But I mean, Witchers are such a round one play now anyway after the nerf. All right, guys, but I want to know what you guys have to say, because those are like the big things. Obviously, Reddit, I'm sure, has the whole summary. It's probably already up there. Some stalwart individual doing God's work. Somebody out there is the real VIP and is already, I believe, I saw the link name. They would be discarded. Yeah, I mean, they turn into mulligan. That makes sense, right? It makes sense. I mean, it's still very consistent. So, yeah, so okay, so hold on. People are saying Acura said something really good here. So I'm going to read Acura's comment in the chat. And I know, tag me McBearded. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. I'll talk to you for a little longer here. Been streaming for a hearty 4 hours and 11 minutes, but I can talk about this a little longer because, oh, baby. Man, I don't know. I wasn't going to stream it tomorrow. I have a lot of chores to do. Maybe I'll stream a little bit. Loving Glenn right now. All right. Well, the first thing I'm going to talk about Timbo's, because Timbo tagged me here. Very hypothetical question. Let's assume that all the announced stuff is indeed coming and is actually working. That's a good assumption to make when you're analyzing it. Since Artifact doesn't seem to be the game a lot of people were expecting and hoping for, can these changes revitalize the game? Can the game gain new momentum or bring people back over to Gwent? People are, you know, if gamers could be that easily predicted, I think that competition in the gaming space would be like the world in which gamers can be influenced is a world where gems are out there and you're buying loot boxes with gems. Like that's the world of playing your market. Like, I know what these people want to spend money on. Let's fucking do it. You can't really predict what people are just gonna like. Fun is a very subjective thing. Gamers are very fickle. And everybody who has ever played Gwent, especially the longer you have played, you have a version of Gwent that you like the most. And it's different from like, there's a whole segment of people that want Gold Immunity back. There's a whole segment of people that want Nilfgaard Spies back in their Salvine patch pre-midwinter state. There's a whole section of people that want X back, you know. And then there are people that think that that Gold Immunity was a good thing for the game. They think that, you know, weather was bad. They think that spies were too strong. They thought that, you know, whatever. I mean, there's not a lot. There's a couple things that we could all agree on. Midwinter wasn't the best, and the art is the best. You know, like that. Those are like the two spectrums that you can be on as a Gwent fan. We all meet at Midwinter wasn't great, and we all meet at Gwent artwork is unrivaled in the digital space. And somewhere in the middle there, we're all over the place. We're dotting the landscape. That being said, I think this dev stream knocked a lot of baseballs out of the park. I don't know if that answers your question. I just think that some people are, I mean, you look at Artifact, I mean, Gwen had a big announcement today, but it was like a thousand person viewership difference. Like, I personally thought it was going to do better this early, but I mean, I also, again, just like my Hearthstone argument before, I don't really play Artifact, so I don't really care or really know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that game. So I'm not going to elaborate because I just don't know what I'm talking about. I don't play it. I don't play the game. It's kind of like the Eternal discussion we were talking about before. I mean, I played it, but I don't play it. So all things are news to me. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, the one thing I definitely know is that a lot of my friends play it. That's for damn sure. My Twitter feed. Oh, God. Ah, man. All right. Acura saying, one of the essences and appeals of old Gwent is how consistent the decks were. Now, granted, some may have been too consistent. Hell yeah. It made for these great decks that required micro decisions to master, and Homecoming, they moved really far away from that. So, to address this very good comment, I would say that consistency was always something that Gwen had working for and against it. You look at a card like Nilfgaard Spies, the deck basically couldn't fail at the height of its power. You hit everything all the time. Mena was doing the job. The Enforcers were getting out there. The Brigades were getting out there. Iris was happening. It was all happening. You were never, as an opponent, wondering if it was happening. It was happening. There wasn't a lot. It was very hard. It didn't have very many bad matchups, Nilfgaard Spies. And one of the best reasons for that is because it was ultimately 100% all the time consistent, almost all the time. And we saw that in a lot of Skellig as well. When a deck doesn't fail, it just performs at a high power level consistently. And it's really, those two things together are very scary. Performing at a high power level, I mean, we've all played card games that has like this crazy combo. You just like, you know, this magical fantasy combo where it's like, oh my God, if you play this card into this card, it's OP, your opponent can't do anything. Yeah, but it's like, if you have a world where you're playing this card into this card, there's lots of games that have these crazy combos that, you know, take a lot of effort to pull off. But if you pull them off, you win. So there's that. In Gwent, you pull off the combos all the time. So if those combos are good, those decks are good. And I think that it makes the balance very fine for Gwent. So I think that they did remove consistency because they felt that consistency was probably hurting the game at a competitive level. And in Homecoming, I don't think they moved really far away with that. And the reason why I don't think they moved really far away with that, because they did end up having cards that can fix your hand, cards that thin your deck, cards that tutor cards, and they added twice as many draws. So I don't think they moved too far away. Too far away. But they did definitely move far away, and I think that's just why they did, right? That's just why they did. So it seems like the general idea is that you draw the card at the hand limit, the card is discarded, as usual, and then you would turn into mulligans. It's going to be a while before that happens. And what happens from now until that change could very much reflect the change. Because Jason Slama, if you listen to Commander's Horn episode 100, you heard on my interview with Jason Slama that he reads the hell out of Reddit, especially after events. He said he read every single last comment. That means even the grimy stuff. Even the grimy stuff. You know that stuff at the bottom of the thread? You know it's just like scum. You know, it's like baked onto the pan. It's just like, you know, like it's like a rotten piece of food, and underneath there's like a turd, and you know that negative 16 comment that says show comment, you know you're just going to turn over that leaf and puke. But you still want to see what that person said. And then you can't unsee it. Why are we frying turds in a pan is what I want to know. I don't know why we're doing that, chat. Why would we do that? It's disgusting. So anyway, I'm just saying that Jason's going to read this stuff. Jason's going to read this stuff. Don't get too high up on a soapbox though. Treat him the way he's treating you. Real talk. And I mean, I know, you know that that old saying, you die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. When I see a stream like that with Jason being that real, I just don't want to believe that that's true for everybody. Moonlight CDPR in the chat. Speaking of Commander Soren, episode 101. We played a little bit more Thronebreaker, Moonlight. Some great stuff. Great stuff with Keltullus. Pretty interesting stuff. We're still getting through there. No, Professor Murdoch. Obviously, we don't think you're saying that about Jason. No. Of course not. You gotta have that strong stomach. Well, just gotta roll with the punches. I mean, when you're in the environment, when you're close to the game and you read that stuff, when like the human being, that's just something else that was said. This is something else that was said during the stream in my chat, not said by the two people on the stream. It was said in my chat that it was a nice reminder that there are human beings working on the game. And there's two reasons why that's a nice reminder. One, they did a dev stream, and we've been waiting to hear from these human beings. And they've been gone. So the thing is, when the human beings step out of the picture, it stops being about, oh, Jason really cares about the game, and Jason wants to change the game, and Paul really cares about the community and wants to bring the community together. And, Repic really cares about the community. He wants to be involved in streams. And this person really cares about this scene, and they want to build this scene. When the human beings step away, it stops being about that, and it starts being like, CD Projekt Red doesn't care. The Gwent team doesn't care. And then you start to have that big, fuck the man kind of thing. And I don't want that. I don't want that. CD Projekt Red doesn't want that. Nobody in the community wants that. Let me tell you something about... I'll use this game as an example, but there are lots of games. But I'll use this game as an example. Warframe, I don't think I've heard anybody say anything disparaging about the way Warframe communicates with their player base. Just to use an example of... there's probably, there might even be way, way better ones. I'll be honest, guys. I've only been playing Gwent seriously for the last 2 years. But I know that I've dabbled with the game. It's pretty fun. I mean, that's not really what it's about. It's about the communication from the developers to the community. And, I mean, since we've already talked about it a couple times already, I'll say again, a lot of the positive things I've heard about Artifact is how quickly they respond. People really, really like to be kept in the loop. And again, talking about real things Jason said the real thing, we don't know where Arena is on our list of priorities. That is a thing that tells us so many things. First of all, it tells me that the director of the game can't read the minds of every single person on the team and everything that they're working on right this minute. There's that. Or, I mean, he can't read his mind, but obviously he knows whatever he's working on. He's the director of the game. That's kind of what he needs to know. But what I mean to say is that they're probably assessing a lot of things right now, and they have a list of priorities, and he's not really sure where Arena is. But it's far away enough from the top that he couldn't give a solid answer. Like, oh yeah, Arena. Absolutely. That's a big one. Didn't say that at all. Basically gave the softest answer you can give on Arena, which is a real thing. But it was the honest truth. And... if he I know I don't expect him to say that every day somebody asks about Arena. I don't expect every single stream to be about, all right, here's an update on Arena and our list of priorities. And I hope the community doesn't really dig into what I'm really worried about is this is very close to being a this is why we can't have nice things type situation. Because if the community just uses a lot of the stuff that Jason and Paolo said against them, it'll be really yucky feeling. I feel like I'm using so many examples from other games, but even stuff like you say the wrong thing, it haunts you for the rest of your life. It haunts you for the rest of your life. I still see some stuff like, small indie company Blizzard, deck slots too complicated. And, they have, and the latest one, that delicious, you guys don't have phones. Whew! Delicious. So I'm just saying that you say the wrong thing in a space like Jason was in there, where he was being very honest about how he felt about the game that he is the director of. saying he likes monsters the best, saying he hates playing against Sihil. I'll tell you, saying you like monsters best, that just means that if monsters are ever strong, somebody out there is going to be like, well, I mean, obviously they like monsters the best, so they're going to buff monsters. I just know that that's going to be, it's going to be something that is, I read those words with my eyeballs in my lifetime. I mean, Rethus, when he was game director, also said the same thing, and he didn't get too much heat about that, but honestly, he said a lot of other stuff that stoked the fires in the community, I think we can say, if there's enough sugar to coat that. Fuck Sihil will, but I mean, that just means that that means that he only has to worry about one card haunting him. So as long as that card is not an OP card, he's living up to his passion, right? So, yeah. So I just think that, like, the other thing about it was there was even like I'm not you guys know me, I'm a pretty positive guy. I like to spread that positivity, and I'm not too cynical. But I mean, he was saying so many of the right things. I started to get a little like, oh, he's just telling us what we want to hear. But then I remembered that they're going to have to do the things. And it's actually quite a commitment to speak the words. You know why people have announcements of announcements of announcements? Because you want to make sure people know when they're going to be communicated to, and you don't want to say anything too soon. Because if it changes, like even me, when I thought that Jason wasn't going to be on that stream after Paul joked, like, don't play with my emotions, guys. Don't play with my emotions. I lost to Sihil today. But even I was actually defending the card. I was defending the card too. I'm like, it's a 15-point card, artifact removal. What? Like, is it still? But it turns out it's not about, because what I said on the stream was they nerf Sihil every time. PTR, hotfix, and then again. Wait. Well, no, they didn't nerf it in the most recent change because it was already nerfed pretty hard, right? But, and what I said on the stream was, they want the effect in the game. They want to balance the effect. They want the effect in the game, though. So they're going to try to balance that effect. As it turns out, I don't know if they want that effect in the game anymore. Now, I don't want them to completely destroy snowbally items, but it is on a binary level that is very, very hard to beat when you don't have it. It is, I mean, in a world with Reach, in a world with Ethna and Spear, in a world with so many cards ping, you can ping Sihil. All you need is, you just need it to boost twice, and then it's just basically unstoppable, right? So, like, hey, guys, you know what? If you're saying you tried and failed at some things and Sihil is one of those things, oh, well, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I mean, the effect is okay, but yeah, if you put it on a unit, or just say that somebody has to wield that card. Like the idea that you'd have to like equip it. It needs like a unit next to it. But they were also saying cooldown 2, which is pretty okay. Cooldown 2, I think they would have to reduce the provision cost for cooldown 2, but it is a frustrating card. But I think that you can tell, you know what, you can tell that Jason plays the game. There's no doubt about that. You definitely don't say that. You don't say fuck Sihil just because people in chat are saying that they don't like it. Because that could directly contradict a lot of players' opinions that are maybe right, that it's not bad. But no, it's pretty bad. Why not just cap it? Well, Don Juan Kenobi, it's not really about, it's about the effect. It's about, you know, one of the really big criticisms about Gwent's changes over time is that effects have been, quote, I don't think I've ever said this personally, but, quote, dumbed down. They take a cool card like old Botchling Lubberkin or even old Baron if you want to go way back, and they turn them into less interesting cards over time to the point where Botchling and Lubberkin were just a card that tutors each other, and people didn't like that. And then, you know, they would, at the time, Rethis would defend saying no one was playing botch and Lubberkin anyway, so why don't we just change it? Well, one of the reasons why we were sick of things changing all the time. And the other reason is because at least it's not removing an interesting effect from the game. Even if people aren't playing it, you can add cards and expansions that make these cards played. People love that shit. They love that shit. So I don't want them to remove an effect from the game just because and just say, why don't you just make it a 2-damage ping? Because that's boring. Because no one's going to play it unless it's competitively the best option, in which case I don't want something that boring to be that strong. Something that hits me for 2 every turn and that's winning games and, working with some synergy that's really boring to play. Like, now the card's boring and I hate playing against it. Like, I don't know. I'm just worried about that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not saying that Sabbath wasn't bad. I'm not saying that Sihil isn't bad. But I'm saying if they made Sabbath, if End Homecoming didn't happen and they made Sabbath just like some card that was just like 5 strength boost self by 5, people are just going to be like, oh, yay, Sabbath is out of the game now, but what a waste of a card. Right? I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the whole thing. Not mixed feelings about Sihil. I do think the card's quite strong, to the point where I'm teching against it basically all the time because you have to kill it. Kind of like playing Mandrake and in the Sabbath meta, you just kind of had to be ready for that. You kind of soft target consume with banishment, but it was just like I feel like you kind of have to have it, right? You have to have artifact removal, but the thing is they also nerfed they nerfed artifact removal as well. Frenzied Dow, well they did nerf Frenzied Dow, but and they also nerfed the way they nerfed Scorch and Igni felt. I'm still getting acclimated to kind of what we're living in right now. You guys see it right now, rank 12. I've actually had a really rough start to the season, to be blunt with you. But I think that generally what Jason said was all really good stuff. I really, really enjoyed his realness. I really enjoyed that he was on the stream after thinking that he wasn't going to be. And I generally just thought that a guy who cares about the game and wants the game to be fun is making the game a better game under his direction. It seems like he's on a wavelength that is about listening to the concerns of the general player base as well as the professional player base as well as the streaming player base, because we're all kind of different in our own way, right? Professional player base cares about the highest level of play, cares about what is competitive, cares about how it's competitive, right? The streamer cares about what is most commonly played and how that affects the fun of playing the game on for over a long period of time, over many days, constantly, back-to-back, consecutively. Which a pro player also does, but not in the same way if they're not streamers. They play, but they don't stream. It's different. You can take breaks, whatever. You take whatever. And then, of course, there is the casual player base, which wants to have fun when they play. So they want to win in interesting ways. They don't want to feel like they're getting the shit kicked out of them, and they want interesting and fun cards, and they want to explore. They want to deck build. They want to build combos. They want to try stuff no one's tried before. They want to know that this crazy thing is crazy when it works, but it doesn't always work, but you want to try it anyway. You want to explore the old bad cards with the new cards. Those are the 3 things, and I think that Jason might be there with all 3 of us. I have to believe that. I have to believe that, because to believe that is the belief that the game director has the best interests in the most important people that play this game. The people that want to have the most fun, the people that want to play and want a game that's engaging and competitive without there being bad balance or like a specific rule that's really kind of annoying, like whatever rule of the game you don't like right now. And also, it's fun to watch and it's fun to play constantly. That there's stuff to chase, that there's progress, there's fun things to try out, there's different game modes, stuff like that. I have to believe that. And I want to believe that, and I've talked to Jason personally, and I do believe that. Now, you guys know that I am a big Gwent fan, that you guys know that there is Kool-Aid in here. Good Kool-Aid. But you guys, I hope, also know that I usually try to be as objective as possible. I'm more about being objective about the truths of the game without harping on the negatives than I am. I'm OTL7. Thanks so much for the 5 months in a row. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support. But so what I was saying is I like to be very objective about the truths of the game without harping on the negatives rather than water down the reality of the game with constant positivity that is not necessarily warranted. And I think that I've been pretty straight up, at least with the closer people, the people that I interact with on Discord and stream on a regular basis, daily almost. Those people and Patreon and stuff, those people know that I have had difficulty. I have had some difficulty in the past 2 weeks. So I just want to put that out there that's where I come from on the game specifically. Oh, coffee, thanks. So you tend to get positivity from me, but I would like to think that it's never blindly positive, right? I'd like to think that I'm never blindly positive. That I don't like to think that I'm ignoring issues. And you hear it more when I stream and play because I'm reacting to things like as they happen. But I don't dwell on those things. Yeah, I hate losing to Sihil. Yeah, fuck Sihil. I know. But I don't dread it, I guess, when I'm not playing it. So I'm not gonna do a podcast about. I mean, I think I might. We're obviously going to talk about Sihil on this podcast that we're already talking about. And the name of this podcast, which I'm probably going to put into the podcast, is probably going to be Fuck Sihil. I'm probably going to call it that, or at least F star star star. But it doesn't like haunt me, right? You know, it's like I used to be a bartender, about 7 or 8 years of serving and bartending. And that job carries a lot of stress. When the restaurant is busy, you get triple sat, quadruple sat. You know, you got 4 tables coming at the exact same time. You've got like 100 orders at the bar, but you're also trying to serve the people that are actually at the wood, trying to order drinks from you. So I know what it's like to have a job that's just like, oh man, I don't know if I can keep doing this. But after the bar job is over and I go home, I never took that job home. I never took bartending home. Because, you know, it was engaging, it was difficult, it was rewarding when I did it well, and it was fun when I had a good day. I feel that way about streaming Gwent, and I feel that way about podcasting, I feel that way about talking about the game in general. In general. So, when I talk about serving, though, usually I'm talking about, when I'm like recounting a story that I have about it, usually remembering like some good times or some crazy parties or something else like that. I don't generally talk about the bad parts about it because I don't really remember it like that. I don't dwell on those things, and I never dwelled on it. I didn't go into work dreading a bad night. I never wanted to have a bad night, obviously, but who does? That's like very, very basic stuff, you know? Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Know what I mean? Professor Murdoch saying, I wouldn't be a huge fan of your channel if I thought you drank the Kool-Aid. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, well, Wes just got into the chat. So you're going to want to watch the CD Projekt Red video. I mean, there are just some stuff. There are just some things that were on the... I was you can watch my VOD if you want to see my reaction to it. I was just doubled over at some points. Like, I couldn't believe some of the stuff that he was saying, not because it was like outlandish or unbelievable, but just because how much of he just sounded like somebody else who plays this game. Sound like one of us. Although, Junior, is there any change you wish they announced? It's a tough one. I mean, excluding all of the things they did announce, because I wanted them to announce everything that they did announce. So now I'm getting like down on my list of like things that weren't announced that I kind of wanted to announce. I mean, I guess, jeez. It's really hard for me to get there when I guess maybe it would be nice if they said that they had more bundles on the way. Like I'm really searching, like more boards and bundles on the way. Like I'm really searching. Like they really did. They addressed a lot of stuff, guys. They address a lot of stuff. You can see, like, I'm trying to find. I feel like there should be an easy answer, and I probably like will get off the stream and immediately think about. Sorry about that. Really think about what I might. I mean, I have notes here, but I just don't think I have anything. I just don't think I have anything that significant that wasn't announced. Right? My face was priceless. Yeah, you guys like watching me watch these streams because I react. I react. Giving the Dao the banish the artifact. I mean, yeah, it would make him worth the higher cost, maybe. How about the artifact fundamentals? Well, I mean, I'm hesitant. I'm fence sitting on this one, not because I'm like, I'm not scared of like committing. It's just, I feel like they made artifacts a little easier to deal with by making the bomb heaver more affordable. They made a lot of the artifacts more expensive. And while Sihil is a very oppressive card when not answered, you can put the answer in. So I feel like fundamentally, as long as there isn't a card that just like blows the game wide open, like Sihil, yeah, when you start round 3, you have no artifact removal, they drop Sihil, the beginning of a long round 3, and you just get dominated, like sheerly dominated, nothing left on the board, you can't do anything about it. Obviously that's bad. Obviously that's bad, right? But if an artifact wasn't that crucial, maybe it wouldn't be as impressive with the tools that we have. I'll tell you something. One thing I do miss is the weather clear mages, right? That every faction had. Every faction used to have like a modal card that you could choose, either clear weather, create weather, or cast a spell, depending on the faction that you had. They were really cool cards. They were not auto include in a lot of factions. Squirtels definitely was. Death Mold was very, very popular as well, but it was about having the flexibility while also having just kind of like a pretty good card in your deck at the same time. Now, for a silver slot, Death Mold having Thunder or Ida having Thunder was pretty good because you have removal and you have attack. And you had silver slots, and it was just like, it was very, very safe to include these as your silver cards because it covered your bases, kind of like how Iris covers your base as well. Artifact removal, but, in a pinch, can remove a Dragon's Dream if your opponent's counting on it. Now, Dragon's Dream is a crazy strong card that has a binary response to it that no one seems to have any real big problems with it. I just don't understand. I mean, I understand that Sihil is literally, almost as literally as you can be, literally game winning. Whereas Dragon's Dream is not literally game winning. However, you can make a case that Dragon's Dream knowing that Nivellen is coming in before the trigger comes off, can't really stop it if you don't have a clear. Because Nivellen's going to move every damn card onto that row. And yet, Sihil is the real, like, super villain. I find that interesting. I know why, because Sihil is unbeatable in some situations, whereas Dragon's Dream maybe isn't. But in a long round, it's pretty damn strong. It's pretty damn strong. And Ed the Mad saying, truthfully, sometimes the best play is discarding, which is dumb. It's dumb. Now, the last thing I'll say about Freddy Babes is the one clip that I saw of him was him against an opponent. They both had Sihil on the board. They both had spears on the board, and they were just discarding cards. Freddy said this is the most Dumbo gameplay, and he was not wrong in that clip at all. It did look real bad. That looked bad. So I think that addressing a world, like creating a world where that is less likely to happen outside of fringe situations, then yeah, I mean, I don't want that in the game either. Can I change the game screen to the card of my choice? Okay, sure, I guess so. Why not Commander's Horn? I know it's a pretty boring screen for the video watchers, but I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing that worries me about weather is the fact that Dragon's Dream is very, very punishing and quite strong in a long round, and we're focused on one binary situation while it's possible that we could end up in another one as well. But I want weather in the game a lot. It's good. It's good. Weather's cool. I want weather back. You know, I want to see new weather stuff. Kind of. I just, you know, I want to see that. But there's still a lot to think about. There's still, please show decks. Guys, I mean, honestly, like, thanks for wanting to see my decks. I am actually just kind of, I mean, I have been streaming the game more than last week, but still less overall. I'm figuring some stuff out. I got the Philivandrel Dwarf list is like the only like really good thing I think that I have right now. So you're not missing anything in my decks. But anyway, I'm just talking to the chat at this point. I think as far as like talking about the meat of the dev stream, that, you know, I think a lot of people liked what they had. A lot of people liked what they saw, as they should have. And I'm really looking forward to seeing your feedback on the whole thing as well. I really like, the gentleman saying if Sihil has reworked Dragon's Dream and Nivillan is the new Sihil. Yeah, so I'm worried about that. And it's kind of almost like they preemptively nerfed Dragon's Dream ahead of time. But, you know, Dragon's Dream is just, that card, for how good that card is, it's like the least talked about good card I see. I don't see it played very often. I don't see it talked about very often. Very good card. So I guess. Oh, there's no nerf section of the VOD. No. There's no nerf section. I'm saying that they nerfed Dragon's Dream like recently, like on December 4th they nerfed it. Is what I mean to say. So I think that this has been a good one. I think I'm a little tired, guys. It's been a long stream. I've taken breaks, but we got to get in. I got to get in some work today. I'm not sure. You know, holiday plans start for me tomorrow-ish. We start to get organized, packed up, and prepared. Going to go to my mom's place on Friday, and then we're going to go to Montreal next week. So I want to make sure that I have some stuff to share with you guys. Thanks everybody watching the stream today. This is probably going to be the extent of the podcast. So I hope you enjoyed a solo podcast. This week, it really helps me to do this. And I know I'm going to talk to some, I'm going to see if I can get some real good competitive minds on the stream or on the podcast. I'm going to interview them maybe off stream just so I can drop one for you on the 20th because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do a live one on the 20th. So if I do a live one on the 20th, then it worked out for my guests and it's all good. Otherwise, you're going to get some unlive podcast. This podcast will be released formally on the 13th of December. The next podcast will be out on the 20th and will be the last podcast of the year. And I do not believe there will be another episode of Commander's Horn until the 10th of January. What is it, the 10th? I think it's the 10th. Definitely the 3rd, the week, but I won't be ready on the 3rd. But I think that, you know, by the time the next podcast rolls around on the 10th, not the next one, but the one next year, you know, we might have a little bit more information because that's actually 4 weeks from now. It's a month from now. It's a month from now. And a month from now is January. In January, 5 new leader update. And who knows what else? Who knows? Mulligan's draws 2019. It could be the Gwent Renaissance that I was kind of hoping for. When I saw the foundation and I saw what the pro players were saying and I saw what some of my friends were saying about the game, saying, boy, it looks like they have a lot of great stuff here, but we got to see what they're going to do with it. Because that's going to tell the tale. Because when a game changes, the big fans, they come back and they try it out. I had a guy come into my stream today. I keep forgetting his name because it was like 5 consonants together, and I think of like every other like streamer or content creator I know that has like 5 like an acronym of 5 letters. Like for some reason I can't remember. It started with an S. He came in saying that, you know, he wasn't really looking forward to the stream because he was expecting disappointment. I asked him why. I'm like, I want to know why you're expecting disappointment. And I know why he was, because Gwent, from an announcement point of view, has had disappointing announcements. They've delayed things. They've, the Homecoming announcement was, we had to go through the sadness that, before we could get through to what happened after, which is Homecoming. So we had to go through that wait and stuff. So, he's anticipating that it was going to be a disappointing stream. And I asked him why. And I asked him why he would say that and be in my stream watching me watch me on Twitch play Gwent. Because there's only one kind of person that watches people on Twitch play Gwent. Fans of Gwent. But when I see stuff like that, I've seen stuff in my chat. And, I honestly, like around Homecoming, when Swim was still streaming, I had a couple people come into my chat, like the day of the patch, saying that they were happy to be in a chat where people weren't just like shitting all over Gwent. Because that happens that can happen. So these people are in the Twitch, there are people in Twitch channels that are not feeling Gwent. That has gone away lately because I think the people that have not really felt interested in Gwent aren't really watching it very much. And if they are watching it, they're not like throwing, like when I watch Gwent on Twitch, I watch it because it means I have the time to watch it, because generally I don't have the time to do that. I don't usually passively have something on. It's just not something I do generally. Usually if there's something passive going on, I am a person that likes to be engaged at all times. If it's past, like even watching TV, I got to be eating too to like really enjoy it. Or hanging out with somebody. Like I generally don't even like watching content at all by myself. If I'm watching Twitch or YouTube, I'm doing the dishes. Like I'm doing something else. So the people that are actively watching games in Twitch care. They care about the game, even if they're disappointed. But they care. They want it to be good. And this all kind of comes back full circle to this sort of atmosphere that I feel like Freddy Babes created with a very, very popular video lately, how to make Gwent the best game. People that want Gwent to be the best game, even if it isn't maybe right now. They want to at least know that Gwent's headed in that direction. Anyway, I asked this person in chat about that. Why? Because if you're here in my stream, are you not a fan of Gwent? And he said it made him think. And then he jumped and played a couple games of Gwent. He came back into my channel and he's like, you know what? I thought about it. By the way, this sounds like a real horseshit politician story. A woman came up to me the other day with her baby and said, "What are you going to do for the children?" It really does sound like some political crap. But the people in the chat, some of you were there. You saw this person. This is a real story. You were there. Some of you saw it, right? I'm just saying, he came back into the channel. He's like, you know what? You made me think twice about where I was coming from. I am sour on the game. I want it to be better. I should probably be approaching this with a bit more positivity. And then he said he was going to go spread that positivity. And I'm like, damn. Did I just convert a hater back into a fan? Did I identify? Because, man, fans make the best haters. If there's a hater hall of fame, it's the big fans. It's the big fans. Think of. I'm not going to address anything you guys say in chat, but you can think of the biggest Gwent haters that have ever hated on Gwent publicly. Think about those people. Even if you absolutely cannot stand them as people or their opinions, all of the people that come to my mind, and it's multiple people, I'm not singling one person out, I can guarantee you that all of those people at one point absolutely loved Gwent and truly believed that it was the answer. I believe that. The biggest haters, like the biggest ones. So, the fans make the hater hall of fame. You almost begrudgingly admire. It's almost like, and then they turn that hate around and they like use it to like push their energy into something else. But they keep coming back to poop a little bit, and that's what I'm saying. People come back to poop a little bit on the game they left, maybe, because they want to come back and see how it has changed. Changing for the better or for the worse. You see it through your own lens, of course, but, you always come back to see. You always check up on your ex on Facebook, right? That kind of thing. No one's going to see you. just take a peek. See how he or she is doing. Uh-oh, I accidentally double-clicked a picture and liked it. Oh, no. I feel like Freddie Babes double-clicked a like on Gwen's Instagram, and now everybody's paying attention to what Freddie has to say. I'm just saying it was great timing because Jason said some good stuff. I'm going to leave it at that, my friends. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate you hanging out with me for this extended chat about the dev stream, the roadmap, the official roadmap, and while we did not get a roadmap image, maybe somebody made it. Last comment I'll read in the chat before I sign off. Fengos13, how hype is today? Well, the answer is so hype. That's the answer. The answer is McBee hype. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you enjoyed the dev stream. Hope you enjoyed watching with me, watching it in the actual channel. That's usually tons of fun. You know, if there's a joke to be made, what better way to experience a joke than seeing 100 people make it at the same time? Absolutely awesome. So, you know, however you enjoyed the dev stream, however you are reflecting on this news, I'm there with you. I'm going to be absorbing some of this now as you have just gotten my hot takes. Now I'm going to check out your hot takes. Well, I'm going to say preemptively that this has been Commander's Horn episode 103, a solo, intimate, and interactive chat with McBeard about the Gwent roadmap. And one more time in the chat, to you and all the Jason Slamas in the world, fuck Sihil. I'll be back next week, of course. Well, not of course. I'll be back next week with something for Commander's Horn. I'll see you then, but I'll see you on stream between then. I have ways of streaming while I'm away. It's not that I'm not going to stream. It's just that my in-depth, it's going to be a lot of holiday console stream, a lot of fun stuff, you know? But we'll get back deep into Gwent 2019. But we're not even done yet, guys. Just because I'm traveling around doesn't mean I'm not going to be all over the place. Follow me on Twitter at McBeardCH. Follow me on Twitch, McBearded. Check me out on YouTube where this video and many others are going to be. I'll see you next time. And until next time, wait, hold on. I'm going to do the proper outro. Because this has been a podcast worth of a conversation. You've all been part of it. You've all been. And art streams. Of course, art streams. I love drawing. I've been doing a lot of drawing. I mean, I haven't been talking about it on the podcast very much. Pay attention to the Patreon. I'm just going to start dumping drawings. And I'm going to be, well, let's not make any promises. But, I mean, I'm going to start doing some exclusive stuff. The artwork thing has awakened a creative fire in me. The thing is, like, when I haven't been playing Gwent, I haven't been playing other games. I've been drawing. That's where my passions have been. All right. That's where I'm at the moment. This is a great podcast. Thanks, guys. This is McBeard. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Until next time, best of luck on the path.